Yeah, man. I love you guys. So I was really, really honored that you invited me on. I've been going back and kind of catching up on the back catalog. You guys have had a lot of people on that I'm very familiar with, and so it's been pretty awesome.
All right, I'm writing your name down here. You're our third fan officially.
Yes, awesome.
This is the AT Banter podcast, a balanced and entertaining look at assistive technology, accessibility, and its importance in people's lives. Join Rob Minot, Ryan Fleury, and Steve Barclay as they banter with people around the world about anything and everything regarding assistive technology and the disability community. Now, on with the show.
Hey, and welcome to another episode of AT Banter.
Banter.
My name is Rob Minot. Joining me today, Mr. Ryan Fleury.
That's me.
And Mr. Steve Barclay.
I have control of the cowbell.
He's just waiting, isn't he?
He is. I don't know.
He's got the drumstick in the air. He's ready.
As long as he doesn't abuse it. Yeah, see, I don't know. We may have to move the cowbell. He's gone cowbell happy.
Oh, well.
Cowbell solo.
So tired.
Yeah. Yeah, you had a work weekend, I hear.
I did.
Mm-hmm.
We had a Zoomer convention. This is, old folks who get around and do stuff.
Wait, what? They call it a Zoomer convention?
Yep.
Why do they call it a Zoomer convention?
I have no idea, but that's what they call it.
But is it what's the convention? It's for old people to go to. It's like Comic-Con for like seniors. What is it?
Yeah, it's put on by the Canadian Association of Retired People. I believe it stands for CARP.
Okay.
And they have this convention, and there's all kinds of exhibits and presentations, and there's music playing and people dancing and
What? Really?
Yeah, it's quite the thing. There was let me see, there was a beer garden there.
Wow.
There were a startling number of medical cannabis exhibitors. Which apparently is quite interesting, because in years past, I talked to one lady who'd been going every year for a number of years, and she says every year now there's less funeral homes and more marijuana.
Wow.
So, yep. The seniors are changing. Mm-hmm. They're not worried about getting buried. They're worried about getting stoned.
Interesting.
Yep.
Yeah.
So lots of travel booths, cruise lines, via rail, plus ones you wouldn't expect, like Tourism Texas.
Huh.
Come visit Texas
Before you die.
Yeah, just all kinds of stuff.
Interesting.
Yep.
So is there any like cosplay going on, like of Matlock or
no? None of that.
Nothing. No. Still, that's so weird. Everybody has a convention or like some sort of a show these days.
Yeah.
Every demographic, it seems.
Go figure, eh?
Yeah. Well, but good for them. Good. So it sounds like it's a pretty good time. It's a swinging. Swinging time.
It was happening, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And lots of Benny Goodman playing and.
No, are you kidding? No. These are seniors. These are like people who are slightly older than us. It's like 70s rock.
Whoa! Hold on, Steve.
Our audience is like, what? These guys are what?
No.
Yeah. Michelle and I we're standing around in the booth, and we're looking at the people going by, and Michelle turns to me and says, "These people aren't that old." It's like, well,
we're not that young.
Let's look at this another way.
That's too funny. Hey, Ryan.
Rob.
What the heck are we doing today?
Today we are talking with Sam Seavey, who is the host of the Blind Life YouTube channel.
Hey, you know what? I've been looking forward to this for a while now. I love this channel.
Yep.
I was looking at it over the weekend, doing some prep, which I do.
Lots of great
Unlike
content.
you guys.
He does good reviews.
He does. Yeah. A lot of cool stuff on there. It's not just reviews. I mean, he does, sort of lifestyle stuff, and he's like us. He talks about everything and anything.
Well, let's find out what he'll talk to us about.
Yeah, actually, let's, because I have a feeling this interview is going to be a little bit longer. So, I think we should just jump right into it and skip the news this week. What do you guys think?
Yep.
Sounds like a plan.
All right.
On the count of 3, everybody jump. 1, 2, 3.
Wait.
Well, nobody jumped, but oh well.
How do you know? I was jumping.
I would have felt the floor shake.
I jumped to the cowbell.
That's true. There you go.
Hello.
Hey, Sam.
Hey, guys.
Oh my God! And as we're saying that, I just got notification that the Rick Hansen Institute tagged us in a photo.
Woohoo!
In a photo.
Excellent.
Wow! Look at that. Yeah. About when we talked to Nancy Thorogood, the Rick Hansen
from the Spinal
Institute.
Institute.
Yeah.
Spinal
What's the
Research.
photo?
It's just the header from the website.
Oh, okay.
So it says, "Hey, check out this episode." Anyways.
Sorry, Sam. We go off in
Yeah.
tangents.
Anyway, let's talk about us.
I'll be over here whenever you guys need me to come down.
The interview just turned into we're going to interview Sam about how much he loves
AP
us.
Banter. That's right.
Yeah. 30 minutes into the podcast, I finally show up.
I'm going to write us down 4, 5, and 6 on the fan list, I think.
We're just not used to it. Okay, let's talk about Sam. Tell us how this whole YouTube channel started up. Give us the bit of the backstory.
Okay. Well, it all goes back 1975. My parents. No, I won't go back that far.
I was with you.
Good.
It's like I'm ready for this.
That is when it all started. But no, I was around age 11, started developing Stargardt's disease. I was diagnosed with Stargardt's disease. This is going way back, but it all leads into my current job. But and so I, as most of us growing up with vision impairments, we get older and it's really hard to find work. I was working at restaurants. I did a lot of restaurant work for a long time, as most of us do in our 20s, which is a lot of fun. But eventually, my vision was progressing and it was getting harder and harder for me to do that. It just so happened at this time that my wife and I had our daughter. And so I decided to be a stay-at-home dad. It just was easier. My wife makes a lot more money than I do, so it made sense. But as she got older, you get bored. Your only conversation all day long as a toddler. You start looking for something to do. You want to get out of the house. And so when she got older and she was in school, I had a bunch of different weird, odd jobs. I was actually a cake decorating instructor for a little while. I taught at a local Hobby Lobby and a local Michael's, teaching wonderful ladies how to make cakes, and that was a lot of fun. But eventually, I kind of landed a job making videos for a tech YouTube channel. This company based out of Texas, this guy contracted me to make some videos on Android, hacking Android, teaching people how to make their Android devices way cooler than they normally are. And that was a lot of fun, but it was a job that I could do myself, and I could cater to my needs. I could set it up in my own home the way that was going to work best for me. And I had a lot of success with that. That channel was called Mobile Tech Videos 2, number 2. It's still out there. You can go watch my old terrible videos. It's all way out of date now, but it was around this time. I did that for a couple of years, and around 2013, I guess, that was kind of winding down and wanted to do something else. But I decided one day just to search on YouTube for my vision impairment, Stargardt's disease. And at the time, there wasn't a lot on there. I didn't find very much. There was the medical related videos, but I was really looking for the real life, people living with the disease. And there wasn't a lot out there. So I thought, what? Mobile Tech Videos is going to be winding down soon. I've got all the equipment. I've been making videos for a while now. I know how to do it. I should just start my own channel. And so that's how The Blind Spot was created. Back then it was The Blind Spot, which was an homage to my vision impairment. Mm-hmm. And that was one of the aha, the clouds opened up and I heard the angels when I thought of that name, which actually, jumping ahead, the name kind of bit me in the butt later on. But so I started making videos there. At the beginning, it was just kind of throwing darts at a board. Whatever stuck, I would make a video about. Didn't have any kind of schedule or any kind of direction. It was just a hobby, something to do, keep me busy. And lo and behold, 5-6 years later, we just we're right around 13,500 subscribers. I've got over 480 videos, 2 million views. It's really taken off, and I get to be on amazing podcasts like AT Banter.
Good plug.
There you go.
Well, and it's funny you say that because, I was taking a look at the channel over the weekend. And actually, we've come across your channel actually multiple times in the past as
good.
Well. So you've kind of been on our list to talk to you for a while. But, we're kind of a bit similar in ways, because what's interesting about your channel is that like one week you're talking about something very techy. The next week you're talking about something about your life. The next week you're talking to somebody else about something about their life. So it seems to be a real combo of just, you just kind of cover whatever topics you happen to cover without really being focused in on one element. And that's kind of how we approach the show as well.
Mm-hmm. In other words, attention deficit disorder.
Exactly.
We're versatile, Steve.
Yeah, right. Sure. Let's go with versatile.
Yeah, the show leans heavily on assistive technology now because that's what I do in my day job. And that's, I grew up using AT devices and I love it. But I do like to every now sprinkle in the videos about the life side of living the blind life. Those are very popular. I mean, some of my most popular videos have nothing to do with technology. It's just tips and tricks videos. One of my, a very popular video, which I love telling people about this because it was one of those examples of, I talk to people about making videos and they say, where do you come up with your ideas? And I say, you know what? Oftentimes I'll think, well, this is the dumbest idea, or everybody already knows this. No one's going to want to care about a video about this. But I end up making it anyway, and those become some of my most popular videos. And case in point, one of them was how blind people brush their teeth, which spawned from a conversation I was having with my boss about how we brush our teeth and how, if you can't see the end of your toothbrush, how do you squirt the toothpaste on your toothbrush? And she said, well, I just squirt it in my mouth. And I said, yeah, I do that too. And it seemed like a no-brainer that we just naturally, organically figured out, But I made a video and I've gotten so many comments. Oh my gosh, you saved my life. I got toothpaste all over the sink every day. It's a nightmare. And so it never ceases to amaze me what people will latch onto, what topics.
Sorry, no, I'm just thinking about doing that now.
Yeah, like why have we been wasting our time?
I don't know.
Absolutely.
All this time.
See, I know, right? Yeah, you just squirt it right in your mouth and you're good to go. Now, of course, you can't share your toothpaste with anybody else at that point, but that's a small price to pay.
How often do you publish? Do you have a set schedule these days, or you're just sort of publishing as you create them?
No, I do. I do have a schedule now. As I said at the beginning, it was just whatever popped in my head whenever. I would go a couple weeks in between uploading a video. But about a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, I decided to settle down on a schedule, and I upload twice a week. At my very best, I do twice a week. I currently have my hands in other things right now, so it's actually, I think I'm going to go down to once a week, just for my own sanity and my family's. So my family doesn't leave me. But I did try to do twice a week, and as I said, it's heavily technology driven now because I have access to it, and it's just, as you guys probably understand, the lack of knowledge out there for the general community of what's available to them is just mind-boggling. And so I really want to be the place on YouTube to learn about assistive technology for the visually impaired.
Let's talk about the creation process.
Sure.
How long does it take you to sort of make an average video, say from conception to, uploading?
I upload on Mondays and Fridays. Those are my days off from my day job. And so I'll get up in the morning, and from setting everything up, recording, editing, and then uploading, an average video would be about 6-7 hours. Just because I'm sure you guys can relate, it takes us way longer to do everything in life than it does people with good vision. So trying to edit on my computer, all zoomed in with my screen magnifier, and it just takes a long time. And that's just an average video. If I'm doing something that's a little bit more production heavy, like currently I'm working on a video in collaboration with Iris Vision to feature their new Iris Vision version 3.0. Working on that this morning, and worked on it yesterday, work on it today, and hopefully we'll upload it tomorrow.
Say hi to Tom for us.
Yes, Tom Persky is my buddy.
And what kind of equipment do you have?
I use a Sony mirrorless camera for my camera. And I use for editing, I've got lighting and all that stuff, of course. I've got a studio set up in one of my guest bedrooms. And I have, for my editing, I use, right now I'm playing around with DaVinci Resolve because it's free and it's a pretty powerful program. It's a little bit more accessible than Premiere Pro, and it's free, so you can't beat that.
Yes. Yeah, I mean this is what is exciting. The exciting component of like a platform like YouTube, really all the social network platforms is this idea of anybody can go in and become a content creator and create content for these communities that have been dramatically underserved in the past. Able to share information or life experiences, or so is that what you've found? Have you found that since you've had the channel, you've kind of been sort of embraced by this community, and you get a lot of feedback, and you get a lot of accolades from the community?
Oh yeah, absolutely. And as you mentioned that anybody can do this, like I said, when I started in 2013, there was hardly anybody. Tommy Edison, I think, was on the platform making his film reviews, but there wasn't a lot of other people. But since then, now if you look at the visually impaired community on YouTube, it's huge. Yep. It's incredible. And I get comments all the time. I get emails all the time, and just the most amazing, heartfelt, love coming from the community. I tell you, it's such a demanding job, producing 2 videos a week and working part-time and family and all that if it weren't for the community and the response, I probably wouldn't do it. I'd probably, give it up after a while, because it does take its toll. But just getting that constant feedback and the positive emails and comments, and then going to these conventions and people recognizing me. I mean, it's a little bit of a boost to my ego, since I am on a visual medium. People do recognize me when I'm out and about, and I'm a very unique looking guy, not your average looking guy. And but speaking of which, CSUN, I believe I was at the same party with Steve.
Oh.
Yeah, I was at the party in the big presidential suite, Hims and Irie, and I was talking to someone also from Canada, and I was like, oh, I'm going to be on the podcast. Have you ever heard of AT Banter? And they're like, oh, I think Steve's here somewhere.
Yeah, actually, I wasn't. I never made that party.
Oh no, okay. Yeah. Well, we all fanned out, but we never found you. But I figured, it's a room full of blind people. You could have been standing right next to me, and I never would have known.
Next year.
So let's talk about the AT side of it. Is that really where your passion lies? Is that what you enjoy talking about the most?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm a techie kind of guy. I love gadgets and gizmos. I'm cursed by always wanting the coolest and the latest gear, much to the chagrin of my wife, who is my CFO. But you know, as I said, I grew up using magnifiers and CCTVs, and I'm an assistive technology trainer at a nonprofit in my day job. So I get to work with this stuff all the time and train with people on it. And I love that. I love having people come in who didn't know this stuff existed. And I see it all the time. We work with a lot of older generation, usually age-related macular degeneration. And they're just brand new to this whole world. And all they know is they're struggling, and they don't know what's available. And then they come in and they sit down with me for an hour and a half. And by the time they leave, you know, their eyes are alight and with the possibilities and always in a better mood. And I love that. I love that feeling. So I love working with assistive technology. And like I said, getting the information out there, because a lot of people just don't know this stuff exists.
That's interesting because, you know, Ryan does most of my training for me, and everybody leaves him bitter and angry.
Oh, it must be a Canadian thing.
It's the alcohol content in our beer.
Poor Ryan.
Yeah, I know.
He's just getting hammered. Last week it was me hammering him. This week it's Steve.
Yeah. Well, you guys
People are going to think we beat up on him, but really and honestly, to all our listeners out there, he beats on us.
Oh, really?
All the time.
Constantly.
Oh my gosh.
Wow.
Yeah.
When the mics are off, he's all
true.
over it.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm just brutal.
Yeah.
He's just much more professional when the mics are on.
He's on his good behavior when the mics are on.
Yeah, we've been considering just attaching a mic to him to try and keep him in line, but
You should hear what I say when these guys leave the room. I make sure the mics are off and I'm not recording.
But no, it's true. I mean, that's very much been our experience as well, and that's one of the things that I think. And I'll speak for myself. I can't speak for Ryan or Steve, but you know, that's one of the things that's really kept me in the assistive technology field over the years. Is just that it's so rewarding when you're introducing people to this technology that they had no idea existed, and you see that the immediate impact that it has on them. Because they realize that, oh, hey, this means that, you know, I don't have to give up, you know, this part of my life because of a physical barrier that they're coming up against.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's the whole motto of the show is you're going to be able to do whatever you want to. You just have to learn a new way to do it. I mean, within reason, of course. I always say you're not going to fly a plane or, you know, become a commercial airline pilot or, you know, a long haul trucker.
Right.
But, you know, you could definitely do just about anything you want to do.
So now I always ask this of anybody who's been in the AT field for a while, because I'm always interested to hear their answers. But say over the past 10 years, like where do you see the great leap forward in terms of assistive technology?
Yeah, I was listening to your CSUN wrap-up podcast, and you guys were talking about this. You know, of course, the wearables, excuse me, the wearables seem to be pretty popular, pretty sexy right now, I guess you could say. And it would be interesting, or it's going to be interesting to see where that goes. Hopefully smaller, you know, less obtrusive designs. But just, I think you guys mentioned also the apps. Someone mentioned just the accessibility on mobile apps nowadays with Seeing AI. And I'm an old school fan of KNFB Reader. A lot of people don't talk about it that much anymore, but I love it. I use it all the time. I actually prefer it over Seeing AI, but don't tell anybody. I've got a video showing head-to-head comparison between the two, and KNFB Reader came out on top. But just the fact that, you know, in our office, we have an old Kurzweil reader that somebody donated. And this thing is like a suitcase. And all it does is scan a document and read it out loud to you. And it weighs a ton, takes forever. And then now, you know, the thought of I can pull up my phone and click on an app and do that plus a whole slew of other features is just incredible. So that keeps going. I was just watching a video about Google's Lookout. I'm hoping to have a video about that coming out soon. That looks really cool as well. So the mobile apps probably is where the real innovation has shined.
Boo, Google. Boo.
Yeah, I heard you guys talking about that on one of the podcasts too. I'm an Android guy, although I will say, I'm probably going to have to go to iPhone just because there it is. As my vision gets worse, I'm relying more on the voice on the screen reader.
Absolutely.
And when did this happen?
I'm a diehard Android guy, but I gotta say, VoiceOver just works better than TalkBack. Yep. It hurts my soul to say it, but it does.
I was an Android user as well, and for years and years, and I switched back to iOS, and I was looking forward to Lookout as well, but again, it's only on Pixels, and it's only available in the US right now. So. Yeah.
Luckily, my wife has a Pixel, so I actually have access to it. Other than that, people always say that to me. I get an email and they're like, "Hey, can you do a review of this? The accessibility on a Surface Pro." And I'm like, "Okay, are you going to send me a Surface Pro?"
That's right.
I'll make a call to Microsoft and get right on that, but I don't think so.
Have you found that manufacturers are really good at sending you products to review?
Yeah, over the last year or so, it's, as my channel's grown, it's gotten much better. I was just looking at that yesterday, kind of going over my list of videos to make, and I've got 3 devices sitting up there right now on loan that I need to get on and make videos about, because I'm sure they're going to want those back sometime. So yeah, I think the organizations and the companies see the value in my channel and advertising on my channel, or having their video or their product featured on my channel, and so that's helped out a lot with that.
Right.
I think wearables and AI is probably where things are going. I think that's pretty much where we've landed. We've had a little bit of conversations with a few companies now that are looking into trying to do electronic braille in a different way to try to drop the price of things like braille displays. And I kind of feel like if someone can crack the code there, that could be a real leap forward in that particular type of assistive technology.
Yeah, it's insane, the prices of some of these things. And I made a whole video about that, explaining why AT costs so much and trying to give people other options for affording these things. And I listened to your CSUN wrap-up podcast, and you guys were talking about all the Braille devices. Yeah. I work mostly with low vision, so I don't deal with Braille a lot, but it was cool to listen to you guys. So I'm getting all my Braille information from you guys about the new stuff out there. But you did mention on there, someone mentioned about how it seems to be just revamping of what's already been available. I noticed that a lot at CSUN and ATIA, actually, that's, it's still a CCTV. It might be folding down and portable, and the camera can pivot and all that, but it still just does the same CCTV things. Right. So it tends to be, that's kind of where it's going. I was really impressed with the graffiti. I saw that when it was a prototype and the second iteration of the prototype, but I didn't see it at CSUN this year.
Steve's looking puzzled. I'm not sure if he's
I know. I remember the name, the graffiti tablet. But I'm
from APH, American Printing House. That full tablet size Braille display. Yeah, I could render photos and all kinds of stuff.
Right.
You know what's really cool is that we talked to, and this was a while ago, we talked to these guys maybe like over a year ago, I think, but we talked to a European company that was looking into trying to figure out a way to use haptics and a touch screen to actually make
you could feel like
touch,
a
touch
dial
screen.
On your screen would be haptic, so it'd be tactile feedback.
And I feel like if someone could crack the code there, that could be a big leap forward for touchscreen technology, because you could actually have Braille possibly on a touchscreen, or at least tactile surface. So you could use your fingers and you could actually detect, a button or that would be really cool.
Yeah. So it vibrates whenever you drag your finger over the area, the button.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be, it would definitely take some getting used to, some training.
Yeah, and it would be a giant leap forward technologically. I don't think they were even close to really figuring out how to do it, but...
I saw some device at CSUN. I was working a booth, so I didn't get a lot of time to wander around, but it had divots in the screen, on the screen for like a keyboard.
Right.
I believe it was a keyboard. It might have even been a Braille keyboard.
It was a Braille
that
keyboard.
Windows 10 note taker, I think. Isn't it?
Yeah. And that was kind of interesting. I had never seen that where they physically changed the surface of the screen like that.
But I mean, you're absolutely right about, the price. And I feel like the price point is also something that really needs to be addressed within the assistive technology field. And I think the only way that that's ever really going to change is the idea of assistive technology has to change from being something that is a specific niche device or an add-on to actually being incorporated into mainstream technology. And having these devices, even these wearable devices that are just universally designed from the ground up, as opposed to having a pair of smart glasses that its only function is to be a piece of assistive technology. It needs to just be a mainstream as well as a piece of AT, and that's why it's exciting right now, I think, for like stuff like digital assistants or smart glasses in general, because we're starting to see that. Definitely
a change in accessibility awareness over the last 5-10 years, especially with consumer electronics, like the Amazon Echo and the Google Hub, and even things that I do a presentation and I have a whole section about consumer electronics, and I talk about even things like the Nest thermostat or the doorbells with video cameras and intercoms built in. You wouldn't think about how helpful that could be for someone with vision impairment. But, the example I give is if somebody, and I'm usually talking to a room full of perfectly sighted people, and I say, you think about it, if you get a knock on your door, you can look out the peephole or you can peek out the side window and see who it is. But if you're visually impaired, you don't have that option. And so if you're not expecting a package or a friend to come over, that could be, very, the anxiety can flare when you get that knock, and who is it? What's going on? So to be able to push a button on your smartphone and say, can I help you? And talk to them all from the security of inside your house with the door closed and locked, and investigate that way, that would be awesome, I think. That's the pitch I'm going to give to the video doorbell people and say, send me one of your products.
Well, it's very true. And so, leads me into a question. Have you tried one, or do you use the Ring video doorbell or anything similar?
No. Like I said, I've done research on it, and I've seen other videos. That's one of those things. If I get a moment, I will actually. I need a manager to manage these things, to send out these emails for me to companies, because I'm terrible about that, connecting with people that way.
Hey, Steve, why don't you tell the fine folks about Canadian Assistive Technology?
Well, Canadian Assistive Technology is a Canadian-based distributor of, guess what? Assistive technology.
I would not have guessed that.
Really? Oh, I got to work something better into the name then. And we do all kinds of low vision and blindness aids, as well as all kinds of physical access aids and accessible furniture. You name it. Visit our website at www.canastech.com.
Rick, let me ask you about this. Chaos Technical Services.
Chaos Technical Services.
Don't sound so excited about it. Woo! Speaking of repairs,
we are the sister company to Canas Tech. We do the repairs on low vision devices, reading machines, for libraries, Braille printers, and pretty well anything in between. We can be found at www.chaostechnicalservices.com.
At CSUN, there were a ton of different tablet-based CCTV systems. Mm-hmm. Did you see anything there that you thought really stood out over any of the others?
Yeah, I've done a video recently about the Patriot Pro from Magnifying America the Palmers down in Florida. It uses an iPad Pro, the 12-inch. That was pretty cool. I mean, the iPad Pro has a great camera and a great screen, and so to utilize that for a CCTV was really cool. There was also one that I spoke to North State Assistive Technology. Called the Revo Win. No, not the Revo. Oh my gosh, I just made a video about it. He's going to kill me, the owner of North State. But anyway,
sorry,
it used a Surface Pro as the tablet and the digital magnifier. So you could jump from Windows operating system into this digital magnifier. But then you could also do a split screen, which I thought was really cool. I hadn't seen on anything else. Split screen from the distance camera and the magnifier. So a student could have a document underneath the camera magnifier and be working on that while watching the teacher up at the front of the room or the front of the board, front of the classroom on the distance camera, both on the same screen. So they could be copying down notes off the board or what have you. And I thought that was really cool.
Nice. The Revo 2 Go Win.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
I was right, Revo.
In recent memory, let's say in the past, say 6 months, what product have you taken a look at that has really set you on fire, that you've been really excited about, either that you've seen or that you know of that's in development?
In the last 6 months, it's a product that I was helping to launch at CSUN, and it's very simple. It's nothing flashy or fancy, but it definitely fills a void out there that's desperately needed, in my opinion. I always have to preface things by saying, in my opinion, because people will come back and yell at me. But it was the Blind Shell mobile phone. As I said, I'm an AT trainer. I work with the elderly all day long. And so many times somebody's come in and they say, well, I can't see my flip phone anymore. And I'll say, well, okay, well, we have some options. We could look at the iPhone has great accessibility. We could do Android if you'd like. They're much more affordable. And usually the kids of the person says, no, mom's doesn't want to do anything super technical. She can't do it. And I say, well, then you've got like the Cricket or something, or not the Cricket, the Jitterbug, or something like that, some other type. There isn't really anything. The Ray phone is out there. There's a couple, but they're just not very widely available. So when I made a video about a phone and somebody commented and said, oh, that kind of looks like the Blind Shell phone. And I thought, what's the Blind Shell? So I Googled it, and then I reached out to the company. So would you guys mind sending me one of your phones? I think it's pretty cool. I'd love to feature it on the channel. And they're based in the Czech Republic. Super nice guys. They sent me 2 of their phones, and I was just blown away because it's simple solution to that problem. The phone is a throwback to the 2000s, early 2000s Nokia style candy bar phone with the full physical keypad.
Really?
Doesn't have a touch screen. It's not a smartphone. I mean, it is built on Android, but you can't even get into the Android system at all. Full vocalized phone. Everything reads out to you. Super large, high contrast, simplified icons and large print on the screen, and all of that's customizable. You can change the size of the font. You can change the color contrast if you'd like. You prefer the black on yellow color scheme, you can do that. And then just 100% controlled by the buttons. And it's just simple. It's easy. It's got email, calendar, text messaging, all the basics that you would need, alarm clock, timer, all of that. It's got FM radio, internet radio. I'm trying to sell you guys on this right now. You can tell I worked the whole week at CSUN
I'd like
demoing this
black,
phone.
Please.
It has a lot of low vision features as well, which are great. It's got voice calling, voice dictation, voice control. So I could say, what's the weather? And it would tell me the weather. Once I'm in the email field, I could dictate the entire email and send that out. Super simplified. It has a color identifier. You can assign voice labels to QR codes that you get in the box, little stickers. And so you can independently label all your stuff, your medication, your spices, things like that. Just really, really smart design, easy to use. And I'm excited, like I said, for organizations like the VA here in the States. We're talking to MaxiAids, we're talking to the lighthouses, we're talking to all of them. Try and get the word out about it. That's what I'll be in NFB helping to promote.
Yeah, the seniors market is a very specific market, and there are some design choices that you kind of have to make to sort of cater to that population for sure. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I know some people would come back and say, well, do you have Facebook on it? And it's like, no, we're purposely making it as simple to use. Right. You want, it's got over 23, I think, different apps, well, air quote apps, but you can't load apps onto it. And specifically because you don't want to make it too complicated.
Right.
For that demographic.
Yeah, sure. I mean, we deal with CCTVs all the time that are very much designed. The front controls are very much designed for like a one big button right here and a big dial, and that's right. And that's it. The less that's there, the better.
Yeah.
So.
And despite that, you still spend an hour training them. No, that's the power button. No, don't. No, okay. Now we got to turn it back on again.
That really is the circle of life, though, because I got a new remote control for my TV last week, and you do lose functionality about that. Like I'm just like, I don't know what all these buttons do. Like what?
I need power, volume up, volume down, channel up and down. That's it. That's all I need.
Yeah.
I got a new remote control just last week as well, and it has voice recognition on it.
Oh.
And I'm so chuffed about the voice recognition because you can do things like hold down the button and say show me bulldog videos on YouTube. And I was demonstrating this last night for my in-laws. It's like, this is so cool. And, the family's all sitting around, so I press down the button. I say, show me bulldog videos on YouTube, and nothing happens. And my son turns and looks at me and goes, Dad, you have to turn the TV on first. Oh, yeah, okay.
That's funny.
So it's happening. It's happening. It's actively happening to us all.
Yep.
Damn and nothing ever works right when you're trying to demo it for someone.
That's true.
I wanted to be that cool old person that was still like into, maybe that 80-year-old that's still using Instagram and Snapchat, but it's not going to happen.
Yeah, they'll start blocking you eventually.
So what's it like having a YouTube channel? Is it a giant pain in the ass sometimes, or do you love it?
No, I love it. If I could just make the videos and upload them and that was it, that would be great. I've got that down pat. But you can't just do that. You've got to interact with your community and all that and answer comments, which right. I enjoy doing, but I often forget about it. And so, a week or two will go by and I'm like, oh crap, I got to answer comments. I forgot. And then I've got, 6 pages of comments. But not even that. It's more than it's like 16 pages of comments that I've got to go through and answer. And then really something else I talk about in my presentation is social media. And if you have any kind of business these days, you really got to be on social media. If you're not on social media, you're missing out on a huge advertising market. And I'm the worst at taking my own advice because I'm terrible at Facebook. I'm terrible at Instagram and, and Twitter. And if I go to an event like a CSUN or something like that, then I'm tweeting about all this kind of stuff and taking pictures with fans and posting that. That's no problem. But then I get home and it's like, it'll be weeks in between a post. And I know I need to be better, but it's just like my daily life is boring. I'm not, going to Coachella or anything like that. I get up and I go to work and it's like, I don't think that's Graham worthy.
And we find the same thing. We're pretty bad when it comes to our social media.
Sure. Yeah, we can only take so many pictures of microphones and Ryan sitting on the couch with headphones on.
That's right.
It's just like, this is not going to thrill people.
Nope.
Yeah, I tried to find a picture of you guys, and I couldn't even find a picture of you guys.
Well,
canastech.com.
Yeah, you're not really missing much. But...
yeah, I think the biggest thing that we documented that was a big hit was when Steve cut himself on the pumpkin.
The pumpkin. That's right.
Yeah, we took a picture of the wound. That got a lot of attention.
The Halloween show.
People enjoyed that.
Yeah.
People love misery.
They love blood.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah. Nothing like a good stabbing to bring out the fans.
So tell us a little bit about what kind of AT do you use like on a regular basis? What's your favorite piece of AT?
Well, much like most people, so my vision impairment, little set the stage here. Stargardt's disease, as I said before, juvenile macular degeneration, no central vision. My acuity is 2400 in my good eye, 2800 in my bad. So I, thankfully with macular degeneration, Stargardt's, I have good use of my peripheral, and I'm very thankful for that. So I use a cane, but I don't need it for navigation. It's more for identification. I use it when I'm walking around out on sidewalks, things like that. If I need to cross streets, if I'm going into a store or a restaurant, I'll use the cane, and so that when I say, you know, what specials do you have, and they look behind themselves at the menu, and it's like, it's right there, which I have had happen to me before. I'm like, I know, I can't see it. That the cane answers all those questions. So I'm a big advocate for the cane, and I use it for traveling, absolutely, traveling through airports and things like that. But I also always have a magnifier within reach of me 24 hours a day, literally. You know, even if I'm in the shower, it's sitting on the counter in the bathroom. I've often taken it into the shower so I can see which of the 15 bottles my wife has in there is the actual body wash, because that's the only one I need, you know. And then I use my Android phone. I've got a Galaxy S8. I consider that a very helpful assistive technology device. I've got an iPad, the Pro, the big 12-inch. I've got a CCTV. I just had the Zip sent to me from my buddy Charlie Collins, who's, I think, coming into town tomorrow to help me teach me how to use it. Pretty happy about that. And I've got a small digital handheld Ruby XL handheld digital magnifier that I use sometimes. I usually use that more for demonstrations and training. And then I would say I've got an Iris Vision as well.
Nice, you're kitted out.
Yeah, it's one of the benefits of one of the perks of the position is I get some cool toys to play with, and sometimes I get to keep them.
Excellent.
Yeah, I did notice you on some of your more recent videos. You reviewed a smartwatch. What's your take on smartwatches? Because we've talked about it here on the show in the past, and I don't know, we kind of land on we're a little bit lukewarm on them because I don't know. I just don't feel like they've really.
We're still waiting for the magic sauce. You know,
yeah,
smartwatches for the blind anyway.
Yeah, the reason why I got one is because I've been a long time talking watch user, you know, and I always hear the argument, well, my phone can tell me what time it is. And yes, that's true. But I just enjoy wearing a watch. You know, I grew up wearing watches. I just like wearing a watch. And the only things we had to help us were talking watches. And they're great, but in my opinion, horrible designs. They're just, I cannot find a good looking talking watch, right? Because they try to incorporate low vision with the talking. You know, they want to make everything large print and high contrast with the talking, which is fine, but I can't see the face at all. So I don't need that. I want more of a minimal design. No numbers on it, you know, on the face, things like that, but they don't make that. So I was looking for, I thought, well, a smartwatch, I could just change the watch face, whatever I want. But once again, I'm an Android guy, and there is zero information online about Android smartwatch accessibility. So I've know a lot of people that use the Apple Watch, and that's pretty accessible, and a lot of people like that. But I wanted to look at Android. So I eventually just broke down. I talked to some companies and nobody seems to care who I am and wants to send me a watch. So I just broke down and bought a watch. And I was actually pretty impressed with the accessibility. It reads just about everything out to you. Well, it reads everything out to you, and you can just about do everything with the voice assistant or talkback turned on that you could without. There's some things on the watch faces, there's different areas you can touch that will do different things, launch different apps and things like that. And you don't have that function when the voice is turned on. There's no multiple areas to touch on the watch face itself. But other than that, it reads pretty much everything I needed to. I can talk to it. I can tell it what to do. I can answer calls and send text messages and all that with it. I was pretty impressed with it. But once again, this is coming from not expecting anything at all.
Right.
Yeah.
And which watch was that?
I purchased the Samsung Gear S3 Classic. It's a couple years old, so it was cheaper than the modern version of that. And it was based on the recommendation from one of my viewers. A gentleman named Chris recommended it. And because I have a Samsung phone, I figured why not?
Right.
Now, do you find when you do reviews that you kind of have to be careful on how you present them? AT in general is kind of tricky because what works well for one person may not really work all that great for somebody else. Like it's the functionality of any device is really dependent on what that person's condition is and what they want to use it for. Do you find that you have to be careful about that when you're doing reviews?
Yeah, absolutely. And I always preface, especially when I'm talking to companies and saying, would you mind sending me a device and I'll do a video review about it. And I also don't like to say review. I tend to say overview because I don't want to impose my opinion too much on it for that very reason. I always say, vision impairment is so widely different from one person to another. Even my sister, who has Stargardt's also, her vision is very different than my own. So just because it works for me doesn't mean it's going to work for you and vice versa. And so when I'm talking to companies, I also let them know that I pride myself on being honest in my videos. And if your device is garbage, I'm sorry, but I'm going to tell the people that. And I have before, and I hope anyway, that companies will respect that and, and appreciate that and take it to heart. Case in point, my eSight videos. I've done a couple eSight videos, and I was honest. I pointed out the things that I thought were terrible about it, pointed out the good things, and I said, it doesn't work for me. But doesn't mean it's not going to work for you. I definitely recommend going out and trying it, but definitely try it first because those things are ridiculously expensive, and you want to make sure it's going to work. And I did that something similar with CyberEyes, and I had a very bad experience with them, and I let people know about that. And it's very funny, but I actually, Sean Tibbetts, who is the main guy behind CyberEyes, he's from around here locally where I am. And CyberEyes was actually inspired by my boss, Teresa Thomas, where I work, the nonprofit I work at, Bluegrass Council of the Blind in Lexington, Kentucky. They were friends, and he at the time said, hey, have you tried this smart glass, Google Smart Glass, Google Glass? It looks really cool. It could be very helpful. I think he had a food truck or something at the time. And so that kind of spurred him on to thinking in that direction, and CyberEyes was born. And but the first iteration of CyberEyes was terrible, and I did a video about it. He was all excited, and he brought it, and I did a video, and I it's not that great. And then we had some issues with dealing with the company, and I documented everything, and left it at that. And about a year later, we saw him at a conference, and my boss was there also. And later on, she told me that he was talking with her, and he said, man, Sam's video is really killing us.
Oh, no.
And I said, I'm like, I'm sorry, but I was honest, And so when they came out with their most recent version, I contacted Sean. I said, I'd like to give this one another shot. And he was very excited about that. And I tried it out, and I was really impressed with the changes that they've made and the new hardware and all that. But once again, it still doesn't work for me. But I always let people know that that's because that's where my vision is at. That's where my vision impairment is. It doesn't mean it's not going to work for you.
Is this the one based on the M300 platform or the Samsung platform?
Yeah, the M300. And I at ACB conference in St. Louis this past year, I got to try the Samsung version, and it was just brand new. Like Sean and his buddy Rex had just finished the coding like the night before, and put the tape on to hold the door shut and all that kind of stuff, and brought it to the show. And so it was brand new, and it worked pretty good. I mean, I had my Iris Vision there at the same time, and I kind of did a side-by-side comparison, and it wasn't any better. It looked very similar at the time. I haven't tried it since. He keeps texting me and saying, oh, I got to put it on your phone because it uses the same phone that I use. And he's like, I got to put it on your phone and do that. I'm like, yeah, you know where I live, man. Come on. Not waiting on me. Anytime you want to, just let me know. And then another week or two will go by. But it's funny how they all seem to be going towards that Samsung Gear platform. Or that style with the VR headset. New Eyes is doing it now. So they seem to have found something that works.
Well, and that's, but again, that is technology that's really still developing really fast. The headsets are just getting better and better. And I feel like over the next 5 years, I mean, as a mainstream technology, as well as an AT platform, those headsets are just going to get lighter and lighter and better and better. I think that's going to be a real leap forward too.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm waiting for the wraparound sunglass style because, as I said, I use my peripheral, so I need something that's going to fill up my full field of view.
Well, and two, I don't know, nobody can really comfortably wear those headsets for extended periods of time, which is, again, that's a mainstream problem as well as an AT problem. But once they crack that, and once they can make those headsets really light, or either that, or just build it into some sort of a visor, as opposed to an entire headset that sits all the way over your head, I think that's really where it's going to take off.
Yeah, it's a shame too, because I hear that a lot when I demo the Iris Vision or the Patriot Viewpoint or any of those. The people say, well, I wouldn't wear this. It's too bulky. And it took me a long time to come to terms with my vision impairment. I was probably in my early 30s before I fully accepted that this is how it is. This is who I am. It's not going to change. It can't be cured right now anyway. So why should I keep trying to hide it and be ashamed of it? And I understand not everybody is at that point, but it's kind of sad to me that people would, it's clear that a device like that could help so much, and when I do the demonstrations, and they're like, oh, I can see, oh yeah, I can read that across the room and all that. But then they said they would never wear it because it's too bulky or they feel silly wearing it. And I'm just like, I just don't care. I take it shopping. I've worn it in concerts and at plays and things like that. I'm like, I would rather be able to see than worry about what these people sitting around me think. And I wish more people would have that attitude also. Yeah, for sure. Although I'm sure that there's also there's a comfort level there as well. Because I know the headsets. I have a buddy that has an Oculus Rift, and his complaint is always like after about an hour, it just starts to get so sweaty and sort of uncomfortable that you kind of have to stop and take a break. Yeah, absolutely. Was that somebody's stomach?
Yep.
Oof. Is that you, Ryan? Huh? Is that you?
That was me.
That was you, man. You hungry?
Nope.
Need a donut?
Just digesting. Got a donut? What, did you bring donuts?
I thought the dog was growling upstairs.
Donuts. And you guys are talking my language.
I just love the amount of content you throw up on the Blind Life. I can't keep up. And, we've been in the AT industry for years and years as well. And so it's really great to have a place to go, to look at some honest reviews of this tech that not everybody can get their hands on.
Well, and it's the nice thing about the AT world is that there's always going to be content for me to make a video about. I've in the past it's time to make a video, and I'm just like, I've got, like I said, over 480 videos. I've done a video about just about everything having to do with vision impairment. What am I going to do a video about this week? But there always seems to be something with AT going on at AT. And as I said, right now, I've got a little bit of a backlog going. I really need a second person to to join the team and help make videos for me. Well, but then again, there's a great young lady making AT videos. Her name's Carrie Morales. She has a channel called Live Accessible, on YouTube, and it's just started. I think she's still under 1,000 subscribers, but she's doing great work. I did a live stream with her recently, but I feel bad sometimes because I see the videos she puts up, and it's all things that I've already made videos about. Not saying there isn't room for other videos, but I think, man, I just made so many videos that it's hard to come up with new ideas. So I feel a little bad sometimes.
Yeah, but even that, like having repetition isn't necessarily a bad thing, because it's always interesting to get multiple takes on any given device. For that reason, right? Because again, what works for one person might not work for another. Yeah. It is so variable. We made the decision a while back that we were going to do something other than just AT on this podcast, because there's a lot of people who are doing just AT. So we decided to branch out more into the human aspects of it, and I think that's worked well for us. But yeah, it's a very different animal than when we first came up with the idea for the podcast, sitting around a lunch table. It was a very different animal than what it ended up being. We kind of evolved or fell into what we're doing now. So,
and I think it's a much better format. We've discussed in the past. There's enough tech specific podcasts out there if that's what you're looking for.
That will do it much better than we can, to be honest.
Like The Blind Life.
Exactly.
Yeah. And then, as I said, people crave that real life aspect too, the tips and tricks or the how-tos, because a lot of people, at least watching my channel, they're new to it. Yes. And they don't know all the little things that we've learned. You're going to drink coffee, we'll put it into a light colored mug so you can see it as you're pouring, things like that.
Right.
Well, if you guys need someone else to talk to, my buddy Derek Daniel, lifeaftersightloss.com. Okay, he's all about the emotional side of vision impairment.
Hold on. I'm going to make note of that.
Oh, cool.
Yep. His YouTube and website is lifeaftersightloss.com.
It's funny you say that, because that's kind of been our experience too. I mean, I think that when we first started, we thought, we'll probably have a couple months of content if we do this weekly. And then I don't know, what are we going to talk about? And, once we got going down the road, there's just tons to talk about. There's tons of content. There's never any shortage of news coming out, or new devices, or people to talk to, or, I mean, heck, we even thought, who's going to talk to us? Who's going to...
We still ask that question.
Yeah. And honestly, you ask the questions and people are happy to talk to you. So we've yet to really run into a drought of content to talk about. So it's, and we've said it for a while now, AT is a really, it's a flourishing industry right now. There's a lot going on in it, and there's a lot, the technology is just getting better and better. And I think that because more smaller companies are coming up with products, we're just seeing a real growth in what people are coming up with. Not only is the technology getting better, but people are applying the technology in ways that I don't think has ever been done before.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, haptic shoes. I mean, who I mean, we laugh, but I mean, hey, why not give it a try? Maybe it'll work. Yeah. I think that's something like the Sunu Band. Mm-hmm. 10, 15 years ago, no one could have conceived of that.
Yeah. Well, yeah, like, and then Suno, how they're really trying to implement edge detection into the haptics. So you really feel the edge of the doorway, and that's crazy to me to think about that.
Yeah.
Well, there was one I saw. I haven't heard from it since, but maybe about a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, it was at, I think, ATIA, where it was this little pad that you put onto your tongue, and then it sends electrical pulses through the pad for navigating.
Really?
What was that called? Yeah, that's been out for a number of years.
It was called a bad idea. That's what it was.
I know.
No, it's been out for a number of years.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't remember what it was called, but I saw that. I was like, that's insane. That's crazy to me. But, I think of all the things that's wrong with that, but,
Yeah, no kidding.
And how it made past the meeting room.
The choking optic.
It seemed to work.
So listen, anything else that you want to plug or anything else you're up to before we let you go?
No, I'm just doing as much as I can. As I mentioned before, I'm currently working with Blind Shell to help them launch here in the U.S. So if anybody would like more information about that, blindshell.com. I'll be attending conferences as the Blind Life and along with Blind Shell. Working with Windows accessibility team to help make Windows awesome, even more awesome than it is. Look forward to the spring update, which should be coming out soon. Some great stuff coming in that, and even in the next fall update, which I'm not allowed to talk about, but it's going to be cool. No, I just, everybody check out the channel. It is on YouTube. It's The Blind Life. Or if you just go into Google and search The Blind Life, you'll find me. Email, Twitter, Facebook, all of that is The Blind Life Sam.
And I highly recommend anybody who hasn't checked them out, go check them out, subscribe, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and give them some love.
Yes, please.
And
I need all the love I can get.
Yeah, and send him money.
Yes. Donate through PayPal.
Hey, speaking of which, I see you have merch.
I do. Yeah, I guess I should plug that, shouldn't I?
Merch it up.
Yeah, I sell T-shirts on Amazon, all having to do with vision impairment of all types. I've got some Blind Life merchandise type shirts, but then I also have some dealing with cane users, some with guide dog users, some sarcastic. I've got some controversial, I guess you could say.
Look.
Yeah. I need to get back on that. I need to get back to designing. I got some good ideas that some viewers have given me some good ideas. I need to put out some more shirts, but hoodies, T-shirts, selling in the U.S. As well as Great Britain and Germany, I believe. Those are the only options I have right now for selling on Amazon. As soon as they open some more markets, I will be selling through there as well.
So what you're saying is I can't buy a T-shirt now because I'm in Canada. Thanks, Sam.
I made a whole video telling you how to work around to get it shipped internationally when it doesn't normally get shipped to you.
All right. Well, I'll be checking it out later.
Yeah, we really need to come up with some merch.
You should at least, just AT Banter logo or something like that.
Well, we're
selling through Amazon merch by Amazon. It's pretty easy.
Maybe we can get sponsored by, who makes cowbells?
Yeah.
Does those drums people, what is that, Zildjian? Do they make cowbells? Maybe we can get sweet sponsorship deal for that. Make some branded cowbells.
There you go.
Give Sam a cowbell. We haven't even given Sam a cowbell yet.
Oh, I'm so honored. I was waiting. I didn't want to. I was at bated breath. I didn't want to hold
usually in the
intro.
Sam, listen, thanks so much for taking some time out and talking with us. It was an absolute pleasure. Best of luck with the channel, and we're going to give you a cowbell to go.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. It's my pleasure. I had a great time.
All right. Thanks, Sam. Yeah, look, branded cowbell. That's what we need to look into, Ryan.
Really?
Sure, why not? Our own, the AT Banter cowbell.
All right, pony up some money.
Wonder how expensive is it to make a cowbell? We just go raid farms.
Instead of cow tipping, we're stealing cowbells.
That's right.
Actually, we can do both. Tip the cow and steal the cowbell.
Make some stickers. That was cool. Yeah, I always love talking to other podcasters / YouTubers because it's fascinating. It's fascinating what the content creation. 480 videos.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's a ton of work.
13,000 subscribers, over 2 million views.
Yeah.
He's reaching a bunch of people.
Man.
Yeah, puts our little podcast to shame. Excuse me.
He's been doing it longer.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
And it's good, and it's good content too. Like all his reviews are really well done and well shot.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's why I was asking about his equipment, because they're all like they look really good.
Yeah.
All right, let's you guys ready to get out of here?
Yeah. Let's get out of here.
All right, well, let's tell the fine folks, where can people find us?
They can find us online at atbanter.com.
They can also drop us an email if they so desire at cowbell@atbanter.com. I gave you that pause and everything, and you were still late on that, Steve. Come on, you got to start coming to rehearsals, my friend.
Okay, do it again. Do it again.
They can also drop us an email if they so. You bastard. I feel like I think this podcast might be turning into, with all this abuse that we're heaping on Ryan today too. I feel like we're getting to that
18 years.
We're getting to that let it be aspect of the Beatles' career. You know, when they all start to fight in studio and they just all this passive aggressive banter starts to happen.
There's some gold nuggets in there.
Hey, you know
what?
People can also find us on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram.
I think the real question is, who would Ringo be?
Rick.
Good point. Yeah. Rick. Definitely.
It's definitely Rick.
That was a no-brainer.
Yeah.
They can also find us on. Wait, did I take Ryan's line? Is that
I already said atbanter.com.
Yeah.
Done.
Yep.
They can also find us on Facebook,
Steve
Twitter.
did that.
I did that.
Oh shit! I'm Ringo today. What's left for me? What's going on? Where am I?
All right, goodbye, folks.
My goodness.
Yeah, I guess that's it. Okay, I guess that will just about do it for the Beatles. We'll do it today for us. Oh, let's get out of here. Thanks everybody for listening in, and we'll see everybody next week, hopefully.
Bye. This podcast has been brought to you by Canadian Assistive Technology, providing low vision and blindness solutions across Canada. Find us online at www.canasstech.com. That's CANASSTECH.com. Or call us toll free at 1-844-795-8324. For all your assistive technology servicing needs, call Chaos Technical Services at 778-847-6840 or find them online at chaostechnicalservices.com. Music provided by bensound.com.
Whoa, look at that. Master of the one take.